Hi, and welcome to this reading. A couple of nights ago, I had a dream, and in my dream, I was shown that the comets in the sky are symbolic of the hands of time. And the image I got in my dream was of the center of the clock and the comet being thrust out into the universe like the arm of the clock, pointing to a specific time. And I hadn't pieced it together, and I just had this big epiphany this morning. And so I've come to do this reading, and it has to do with what's currently at play in the collective. So when I say that, what is happening in the top levels of society, the things you see on the news, the things you read about on the internet, that energy is at play at all the different levels of society. And this big epiphany came to me. I'm editing a reading at the moment because I've been getting this collective energy coming through. And I've been umming and ahhing as to the relevance of me doing readings about what's happening in bigger collective energy, as opposed to sort of, grassroots, you, me, the people, as opposed to the people in power. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that by doing readings about what's actually happening, what we can see, what the people in power are doing, actually gives you an example of the different characters at play, so that you can then take that information, if you're trying to work through something that you are going through on a personal level, you can say, you know what? I would compare myself to this person in that situation, and maybe somebody that I'm, in a battle with, because that's the energy at the moment. It's Mars in Uranus, which is a placement in the sky at the moment. Mars is the planet of war, and Uranus, is the planet of earthquakes, but it's sudden shocking events. And if you're battling somebody in unbalanced Mars energy, which is divine masculine energy, which is the Leo energies in the collective at the moment that are doing things out of ego, and I'm talking at the top, that are doing things out of ego, then it's a really great tool for you as an observer to potentially work out your next power play. Now, some of the comments for that reading, and it was a reading about a chess, it's called a 5-finger fork. And it's clearly resonating because the comments have just been incredible in terms of people going through that exact situation. And one of the comments was, one move away. And what I just heard was, it's one move away. Because this reading, we are looking at, we're not looking at you, we're actually looking at the person that you are battling. And that person is one move away from breaking their soul contract with God. Maybe they have made a million moves up until this point that have put them in, almost brought them into alignment to that moment in time where they break their soul contract with God. We all come into this lifetime with a soul contract, something that we are meant to achieve for the highest good of everybody, collective energy. We are in a Pluto and Aquarius transit, which is 20 years of collective energy. It's about we the people, as opposed to, there's no I in team. So I was hearing one move away. What's happening at the moment is about strategy. And for these out of balance Emperor energies in the collective, it's about making plans, making decisions with their ego. Now, the other card that I kept seeing in my mind's eye and has been coming through in readings, and I'm just going to pause the video while I find it. Okay, was this card, the Ponte Vecchio. This card has been coming out for the last 18 months in my readings. And this is when it dawned on me. I was editing this morning. My husband was getting ready for work. I read that comment, one move away. And the image of this bridge popped up in my head. Now, the Ponte Vecchio is a bridge in Italy, in Florence in Italy. And it was the only bridge in World War II that Hitler didn't take out. So we're talking about strategy here, because effectively, if you want to stop an incoming army from moving their logistics around, the best way to do it is to take out the bridges. And if you think about what's currently at play at the moment, and as I said before, I'm talking about what's happening in the collective as an overview, and then you just copy and paste it to what's going on in your life. This might be happening in your life. Somebody placing obstacles, the Ponte Vecchio. And my husband started talking, now, before, when I first met him, he was in the military. And he was in logistics in the military. And so he's quite interested in the tactics, the chess plays that are going on at the moment over, and that's a message for somebody over in the Middle East. And he was talking about the big carriers that are sitting out in the middle of the ocean, and his reference to it was they are sitting ducks, which is awful to think of all those people. But the reality is somebody put them there. Somebody in their ego, making plans in their ego, a grand master who thought he couldn't be beaten, placed people in harm's way. And this is this one decision away from disaster, effectively, because they made a decision in their ego. And what my husband was talking about was there's those ships need to be refueled, and all of the places he can do that from, for example, Spain, have basically said no access to their military bases. Spain being the person that is making that 5-finger fork move, which is essentially cutting off the ability for the Grand Master to make a move. It's about strategy, and you have to view it in terms of what's currently going on in your life, because there's clues in it. There's clues in it about how to make your play. It's almost like God is giving you a real life reality show, and that is just horrible because people's lives are at stake. I was hearing the line from the song, "If we go down, then we all go down together." And that is out of balance Emperor energy, prepared to risk the lives, prepared to sink the ship because they are in their ego. Now, as I was saying to you, and you're going to hear my dogs in the background, the little one, Colonel, his name is Colonel, called that because he looked like a piece of chicken. He looked like a chicken nugget when he was little, but interesting reference to a name, Colonel. He's squeezing a little Pumbaa toy, Pumbaa from the Lion King, and they sing that song, Hakuna Matata, means no worries. Again, this ego energy, thinking they've got it all sorted. Interesting, the Ponte Vecchio. Let's pop that there. Now, as I was searching through these cards, my eye was caught to this one. That is in Turkey. This deck is my travel deck, and it is essentially a whole big set of photographs that I took. I'm 50 this year. Back when I was 21, I did a big, I was going to say overseas deployment. I did a big overseas working holiday in England, and then before I came home, I spent many months traveling through Europe, and that's in Turkey. And the reason it caught my eye is because of some of the comets and the symbolism around them in the sky. It represents the hidden army. It's in where they suspect the lost city of Troy is. The hidden army that was inside the horse, that rolled into town and essentially took out the opposition. The 5-finger fork. Let's pop that there. And before I get into the reading, if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading, and then I will come and use my tarot and oracle decks to further clarify that message. I just want to check that I've hit record, and I have. All of my readings are timeless. Whenever you stumble across this reading, you are meant to find it. I know that I'm talking about energy that is currently at play in the collective, but it doesn't mean that in 10 years' time, if you find this reading, you found it because there's something in it. There's a piece of information. Your guides connect with all different avenues to feed you messages, not feed you messages, let me rephrase, to give you confirmation of things that you are intuitively already picking up on using your third eye. If you're watching tarot readings on YouTube, it's because you are trying to tap into something that you cannot see with your physical eyes. It's what you are seeing, sensing, feeling with your third eye. Something that out of balance emperors, these people here, who are making the big power plays, they are working in their ego. And if you are in your ego, then your third eye is switched off. And if that is the only thing you take from this reading, then that is the most important message of all. If you are working from your ego, then your third eye is automatically turned off. You can't see the forest for the trees, is what I just heard. So, as I said, I had this dream about, and I forgot. All of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. If you're called to any of those, the links can be found in the description box. Now, I had this dream about the comets and their relationship, and I think there's 6, 7, 8 of them in the sky at the moment. I think there's 8 in total, big ones that, you know, astronomers are watching. And I've been doing research as to where they're actually flying, which constellations they're flying through in the sky, and the symbolism in those constellations, and the divine messages that are being given to us through the passage of this comet, where it's going, what it's touching along the way, and what message, what information, what lesson can we learn from that about what's going on in our own life, but also what's going on collectively. Now, the main one at the moment is 3-Eye Atlas. Even if you think of 3-Eye, third eye, and that comet, and I've done many, many readings, but that comet for me is about a covenant that we as a collective and each individual has with God. And it was shot on the 1st of July in the constellation Sagittarius, which is essentially where the universe began. And if you think of it as an arrow, it lands on the bullseye, the eye of the celestial bull in Taurus, on May 31st this year. Now, that particular point in the sky is Aldebaran, which is a royal star of Persia, the watcher of the east, and it's represented by Archangel Michael, which is God's army. God's army. And it's about your third eye awakening. Where it also sits, as in where the comet actually sits in the night sky on that day, is on the thigh of Pollux in the constellation of Gemini. Now, the thigh of Pollux is represented in biblical sense by Jacob, who had his name changed by God in a soul contract with God to Israel. I'm just going to pop that there. Just pop that there. And I say it all the time, but it's so relevant at the moment to what's actually going on in the out of balance emperor egos that are making moves on the world chessboard in their ego. And my dogs at the moment are playing tug of war with a toy. There's messages in everything. And if you are here, your third eye is awakened. So let me tell you about this comet. This dream where the hand of the clock symbolized the underlying meaning of the comet, and the hand of the clock in my dream pointed to the date that the comet was discovered. And I was looking through my notes, looking for a comet which pulled in this energy. For me, it's the energy of your third eye, which sits in your temple. And you won't believe, there is a comet, one of the comets that they're looking at the moment. There is a comet called Temple, 10P Temple, T-E-M-P-E-L. But your temple is where your crown chakra is. It was discovered, and get this date, it was discovered on the 4th of July, 1873. Now, obviously, the 4th of July is Independence Day. I don't know if there's a reference, and maybe if you know of something, intuitively, something just drops into your mind. If 1873 is a reference to maybe I don't know when something else that happened in the collective. But this particular comet, so it was discovered on the 4th of July, 1873, the Temple Comet. It goes into perihelion on the 2nd of August 2026. Mark that date in your calendar. That's at a point where it comes closest to the sun. And often what happens with comets is when they reach perihelion, when they reach perihelion, they basically fly so close to the sun. Dionysus flew too close to the sun because he was in his ego and his wings melted. When they fly close to the sun, these comets, they essentially can burn up. So almost just get absorbed into the sun. The 2nd of August. It's closest to the Earth on the 3rd of August. So in January this year, and we're looking at what these comets symbolize in the sky in regards to these out of balance emperors, these ego energies who think that they are the Grand Master and can make any play that they want and then actually find themselves stuck. I will also say, actually, let's start with January. So January 26th, that comet was sitting on the scales. And I don't know why I chose that day, January 26th. That comet was sitting on the scales. I basically go through month by month. It was sitting on the scales in Libra, which is balance. Those comets are divine. They're celestial. They're meant to be signs and symbols in the sky. Something that God has sent, basically saying, I'm bringing in balance. By February, which is the Great Reset, February this year, we had Neptune and Saturn go into Aries. The starting point of the zodiac, where you plant your seeds. That last happened in 4361 BC at 0 degrees of Aries. So the beginning, 0 point. The beginning. It's where you plant your seeds. Both of those planets have been in Pisces, which is about where you learn your spiritual lessons, specifically with Saturn there. Saturn in Pisces, where you learn your spiritual lessons, what you look back on based on all of the lessons that you've learned, and whether you go, you know what, I've been an ass, I need to change my ways, or for out of balance Emperor energies, you can't tell me what to do. I don't need to learn any lessons from life. I know it all. And so what these energies do then, as Neptune and Saturn go into Aries, the beginning of the zodiac, which is where you plant your new seeds. And when did that conflict? Well, it's been going on for a long time, but this particular portion of that conflict actually started a week later when Mars went into Uranus, Mars being divine masculine energy charging forward and causing great havoc, especially if you're in out of balance energy, started a week after. What's happening though is you've got these people who refuse to learn any lessons from the past, who then continue to plant toxic seeds in this new garden, this February 20 Great Reset, where we have an opportunity, because we're in the Pluto and Aquarius transit, to do something for the collective good. It's a 20-year transit where you do something for the collective good. And even in July this year, the North Node, which is our collective point of destiny, the North Node goes into Aquarius. Again, collective good. It's about humanity. And it's not even about the people sitting in those big ships in the middle of, who are there because they're just doing their job, while the emperor sits in his palace. It's all the people. I had a conversation with a friend who's a travel agent, and she's basically spent the last 5 days on the phone 24/7 to people who are stuck in the middle of their holidays. And yes, you can go, okay, well, there's bigger things at play in the world. But war and conflict is not included in most travel insurance, well, in all travel insurance. So if these people want to get home, they've got to work with the airlines and any accommodation that they booked. If they're on, anybody from Australia literally flies right across that way. What if you were on your honeymoon, or, a set of grandparents who have worked and saved for their whole life to have this one big final trip at the end of retirement? And they lose it all because of the ego of somebody. And as I said before, this is somebody who is in out of balance energy. This is somebody who refuses to learn. They don't care who it affects. Even in a reading yesterday, I was talking, and actually I had a conversation with my dentist yesterday. He's got this massive big Land Cruiser, huge big car, big V8 engine, you know, and I pulled into the car park in my EV, which is an electric vehicle, and he started talking to me about where I got it and, you know, what it costs to run and all this sort of stuff. Because like the Ponte Vecchio, all of the avenues to get oil out of those areas then affects all the petrol prices around the world. One person's decision affects everybody, and this might be what you are dealing with. So on February 20, which is that great reset, that 0 point in the sky, the Temple comet, which as I said was discovered on the 4th of July, will be in the belly of now I can't say a fucus, the belly of that constellation, positioned between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Now that constellation, the symbol of that constellation is that sword that you see with the snake around it. You often see it on the side of an ambulance, or it's the sign for medicine. And that sign represents the god of medicine, God turning things around with this hidden army. You are the hidden army. You are the hidden army. Anybody who has their third eye awakened or is being awakened, we are God's hidden army, starting to see through all of the illusion, all of the bullshit. And Neptune and Saturn is about karma. Saturn is about it's judgment energy. But Saturn in Pisces, which is where it was, can be illusion, breaking through the illusion, the epiphany that you go, you know what, I can see what's going on. I know who you are because I can see you represented in people up there in the collective. I've got your measure. You remind me of this idiot, for want of a better word. And what I would say to you is, if you have somebody like this in your life, they were put there. They were put there. You had a soul contract with this person or with this people or with this family member, work colleague, boss, whoever it is, husband, partner, wife, whoever it is, brother, sister. They were put there to awaken your third eye. So in some ways, that's where that gratitude comes in. It's that little prayer that you say to God that says, it's been crap, it's been shit, it's been tough, but I'm grateful that through what I've gone through with this person, my third eye has been awakened, because now I am the hidden army. I am the medicine, the God of medicine, bringing healing into the collective. On March 20, which is the equinox, now that's the day, so if we're thinking about balance here, that's the day when night and day is the same, meaning the amount of time, night and day is the same. That comet, the Temple comet, is on the tail, and I'm gonna butcher it again, is on the tail of a ficus. It sounds like I'm saying fecal. I'm not. A fucus. I don't even know how to spell it. Ophuicas or something like that. A fucus. But that comet is sitting on the tail. Now, what did I say to you? It's like that, the sword of truth, and then the tail, which is like a Kundalini activation. And if you go back and watch or if you've already watched my readings about Three Eye Atlas. Now, Atlas itself stands for, well, Atlas is a map of the world, a map of the soul, a map of your soul. Atlas is the last vertebrae that holds the head up, the ego, that holds the head up. And what I was actually looking at in all of those readings was the relevance of Three Eye Atlas in regards to the painting of the Last Judgment on the wall of the Sistine Chapel. Atlas is the 33rd vertebrae. On the roof of the Sistine Chapel, there are 33 paintings, and on the back wall behind the altar, which is the sacrifice, is the Last Judgment painting. And in the center of that painting is Jesus, and on his left thigh which is the center of the painting, it marks the soul contract that we have with God, which is where Three Eye Atlas sits when the arrow of Three Eye Atlas hits Oberon on the 31st of May. It's sitting on the left thigh of Pollux, which represents Jacob. There's two people in there, a soul contract. But this is about you having your temple awakened, because when you think about that Kundalini awakening, it goes all the way up. It starts in your base of your spine and goes all the way up. I was going to say sacral chakra. It goes all the way up. This energy moving up as your third eye awakens past the top of Three Eye Atlas, that 33rd vertebrae, and up into your head. And even if you look at the painting of the creation of Adam, which sits in those 33 paintings on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, he's got his finger. He's got his finger out and God's touching his finger and Eve's behind. But Eve, this divine feminine energy, and that was in a reading that I did yesterday, this divine feminine energy, not gender specific, but it's about awakening your third eye. It's about wisdom and knowledge as opposed to charging forward in out of balance ego energy. And there's this connection point. But that's the temple. God and Eve are sitting in the temple. Kundalini activation. This healing energy coming through the collective. So April 4, which is Easter, the temple comet, I've got written Saltum. Sanctum Saltum. Shield. I just scribble, writing stuff down. It's the shield. It's the diamond shape. And it represents, it's the only constellation in the sky that is actually represented by something that physically happened on the earth. The victory at the Battle of Vienna. Now, please pop it in the comments if you know what the victory of the Battle of Vienna was, because it might have, and we all have puzzle pieces for each other, it might have some relevance to the energy, the cards that come out. The victory at the Battle of Vienna, May 14th, which is the year a certain country turned 77. That country will turn 78 on May 14th. The temple comet is under Aquila, under the wing of Aquila. Now, Aquila is the eagle. What are we talking about here? May 31st, which is that point where the sun and Oberon, God's army, Archangel Michael, God's army, come into alignment. The temple comet, so it's almost like it's moving its way up, 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 up. The temple comet is on the wingtip of Aquila. Under the wing means you're not flying. By May 31st, it's almost like the wings are going up. By June 13, it's in Capricorn, the sea goat. Now, the myth of that is escape the typhoon by jumping into the Nile. And that particular myth aligns with the winter solstice. July 7, which for me is 7/7 is this great reset date. By July 7, it's in Aquarius, on the top of the hand in Aquarius. Aquarius is the water bearer. But Aquarius, we are in a Pluto and Aquarius transit at the moment, 20 years. Think the American Revolution, think the French Revolution. And in fact, this year, because it happens every 248 years, this year, on the 4th of July, is the 250-year anniversary of the last Pluto and Aquarius transit. The top of the hand, the water bearer. August 22nd, it's in Pisces Astrinus, where it is also in September. And then October 10, it's alongside Formal Ho in Pisces. Now, why is that of significance? Because Formal Ho is represented by Archangel Gabriel. It's one of the 4 royal stars of Persia. It's the watcher of the south, and it's represented by Archangel Gabriel. So revelation. Gabriel is revelation. And the fact that it's in Pisces, Pisces talks about spirituality, but Pisces also talks about illusion. But that particular star, Formal Ho, is about prophecy and divine prophecy. Now, when I was doing research about this particular comet, I did a random shuffle on my songs, and I'm just going to give you the songs that I got. They might have relevance to you. I got Throat Chakra, Time to Use Your Voice, or something that this person is going to do or say, an action that they are going to take, is going to be, like I said in the beginning, the point in the sky, the point of no return, and it will mark the disintegration of their soul contract with God. The interesting thing at the moment is that salt is, biblically, salt represents a soul contract all the way through the Bible. Even there's a story about, and I don't really know much about it, but there's a story about Lot's wife, and they were told to flee. Is it Sodom and Gomorrah? They were told to flee, basically a place of debauchery. Oh, and I've got an image in my head. Let me get this story out. They were told to flee a place of debauchery, but they weren't allowed to turn around and look back. And Lot's wife, she doesn't have a name in the Bible, but she turned around and she looked back, almost a longing for the life that she had led. And God turned her to salt as a symbol of, you shouldn't be yearning for something. I've given you an opportunity to learn a lesson, but you're still wishing for something debaucherous from the past. And the image I had in my mind, and it popped up in my feed yesterday, was of a certain president who is ex-president, who's currently being investigated at the moment. He's at some tribunal or something like that. And as part of the hearing, and they were videoing it, as part of the hearing, he was shown a document which had all of these images of him with people who are known criminals, and he was sitting there smiling at the images, flicking through and smiling at the images, almost remembering the good old days, a soul contract that he had with the devil, and then this soul contract that he has with the man upstairs, because at the moment, the Last Judgment painting, and it will actually be completed by Easter. They say it will be revealed by Easter. The Vatican is scrubbing 3 decades of chalky salt residue off the Last Judgment painting. It hasn't been done in 3 decades. But that salt is the covenant. God is basically scrubbing the covenant out. For the people who choose to look back at the past and go, you know what, I refuse to learn the lesson. The hidden army is coming. And not in my ego, but the hidden army in the people who look at life through the lens of, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? Me, who fascinated by the symbology on the walls of the Sistine Chapel, only to figure out halfway through the process that aligns spiritually with what's actually happening at the moment. Now, in my ego, that would be me keeping information to myself. But I was blessed when I started watching tarot with amazing readers that helped me open my third eye by imparting information, wisdom, knowingly, unknowingly, that they were getting. And so I'm doing the same. And if there's one thing that I say that helps you open your third eye a little bit more, then fantastic. And please I love reading the comments, and some of the most profound messages, the activations, that comment this morning that I read, one move away, it for me was a ding that just kind of sent me on, and now I'm here doing a reading about it. We all have puzzle pieces for each other. So these songs, throat chakra, expression, truth, creativity, it's 383 hertz. That might be a message for you, just to sit quietly and listen to that frequency. I got Father Kobe's preaching. That's from the Truman Show. That's about setting yourself free. If you haven't watched that movie, it is eye-opening. Perfidia by Los Panchos. It's about betrayal. Count on Me by Bruno Mars. Actually, that song, and sometimes in songs, it's not the song or the lyrics of the song. That song, isn't it a yellow album cover with it's a big torpedo? to find you by Sing Street. That's about a guy leaving everything that he knows, leaving the safety and comfort, very, very similar to the Truman Show, leaving the safety and comfort of what he knows and going on a new adventure, doing something different, which is very Pluto and Aquarius. This Pluto and Aquarius transit. And Pluto and Aquarius is about power to the people, this hidden army, power to the people as a collective energy rising, because you've had a third eye chakra awakening. I did say it right. A third eye chakra awakening. Your power is internal. You can see things with your spiritual eye rather than your physical eyes. And as a collective, you start to rise. And Aquarius is the opposite of Leo in the zodiac. So it's taking out the out of balance emperors. And even before, and it's been coming up all week in readings because he's got this little Pumbaa toy. That is Simba taking on Scar in The Lion King because there was an illusion. And Line Without a Hook. Montgomery Rich is the artist. But the image on the cover of that song is a third eye, which is just beautiful. I did have a look in Gematria for those that are interested in that side of things. NP Temple, it's 280 and 522. Enigma, and to remove or take off, which is this third eye awakening. And just the word temple itself is 220 and 426. 220, religion. Noah, which is light. The word temple, spelt the traditional way. Coal or cock, which aligns with third watch. 426 is Moses, Zeus, Orion, the Quran, Apollo, Pisces, Virgo, Emmanuel, Miriam, Royal, Celtics, Pleiades, and aligns in strong concordance with God. And in the Greek, it is to have examined, or the law. So a soul contract that this person is one play away from breaking any opportunity. Let's get some cards. What else do we need to know about this energy or these energies? The truth will set you free. Meaning that, if you look at somebody like the former president, as I said, he was sitting there and he was looking at those images, smiling, thinking about the great times that he had at other people's expense. The truth would have set him free, meaning that I believe that's the point in that soul contract that he has with the man upstairs where he had a choice to make. That Saturn energy, which is karma. He had a choice to make. The World card is Saturn in the tarot. It's the last card. You get a new beginning, like Lot's wife. You get a new beginning if you say, you know what? Neptune energy, Neptune in Pisces. I'm actually going to keep things hidden. I'm going to keep things down. I mean, there are so many people that know so much information. And as I said, I'm talking about collective energy, what we're seeing. So many people have so much information, but they make the choice to keep it hidden because of their ego. To put other people at risk because of their ego. Because they don't want to admit that they've done something wrong. The truth will set them free. Actually, you know what? That's a bit like, if you think about Jacob, he wrestled with God. Had that dream about the stairway to heaven at the age of 77. Again, that's this year. 77. Had that wrestle with God. And I think it was with Archangel Gabriel, which is where that comet is by the end of the year, the 10-10-10 portal, which is the Great Reset. That comet, the temple comet, is sitting beside Fomalhaut, which is Archangel Gabriel in the night sky. The opportunity. And actually Fomalhaut is opposite. I've got it here. It's just my notes. This is Fomalhaut down here. And these are sevens. And I know that it looks like, but it's all connected, right? Fomalhaut is down here. Watcher of the South, the mouth of the fish of the whale. The fish of the whale is, the 3 days of darkness, or when Jonah goes down into the belly of the whale and goes, you know what, I am actually going to do what God told me to do. I'm going to go and tell these people, you need to repent. Not a religious reading, but there's so much symbolism. Mysticism, idealism, and prophecy. It's the Gospel of Matthew, Ethiopia. But it sits as a I wanted to say stargate, but it's not. It sits under the North Star, which is Regulus, which is the lion, the watcher of the North, the heart of this celestial lion. And it talks about kinship, honor, fame, represented by Mark, which is this Leo energy. Leo, out of balance Leo energies. The truth will set you free. They have the power, but they're using it for their own good. And this might be somebody that you are dealing with at the moment. They refuse to learn the lesson. Okay, let us get... Ooh, actually, let's get an angel. What angel is walking? What angel? Okay, let's get a lesson. Let's have a look at what angel is walking with this person, trying to open their third eye. What angel? I've never asked that before. What angel is walking with this person? 4, Elamia, travel and mental illness. That's the Queen of Wands. That is a card in Wands energy. If it's out of balance, it's fire energy. The Queen of Wands is the moon in Leo. So again, this Leo energy, but out of balance. Let's have a look. I also had a dream probably 12 months ago about a certain president. There were stars falling from the sky in this dream. And they were on a flight, and they were running out of fuel, and they had to land. They had no choice, but they had to land. And the only place they could land was in a country that had vowed to the UN or to the ICJ. UN 41. That was another dream. That they had vowed to the ICJ they would arrest that person if they landed in their country. There might be something that the person that you're up against, almost like a move that God will make on your behalf to stop things from going any further. And maybe it's at a point in time where you think you've lost, but it's actually so this person is in gloating energy, you know, almost like, look, I got away with it energy. And then God has the last say. And it's because they chose not to side with the truth. Okay, the people born under this. So this is what angel is watching over this person. This angel watches over people who build things. So they're industrious. They build things and they like to travel. So it's almost networking energy. This angel, so we've got mental illness here. So many videos online about, and again, that might be somebody's undoing. So many videos online, medical people online, publicly going and saying that, I'm going to call him the orange man, that the orange man has temporal lobe dementia. Again, that temple comet. And temporal lobe dementia, again, this you know, God and Eve in the temple, in that painting of the creation of Adam, the creation of man. There might be something else that is this person's undoing. Some sort of illness that is this person's undoing. That has nothing to do with a play that you make, but everything to do with the final play that God makes. Because temporal lobe dementia, so part of it is where you lose pockets of information. So you fill it. You fill the hole, you fill the gap with anything that sounds great. It's very ego-driven, really. And that's why when you hear him speak, you're like, what? And because he doesn't know that he's missed that whole big segment of time. And if you know more about it, then, you know, pop it in the comments. Then he believes what he says to be true because he doesn't know any different. It's almost like his mind is playing tricks on him, which is a really scary thing to think about, of somebody in this energy who literally holds the fate of the world in his hands at the press of a button. Mental troubles, mental illness. It's also the angel that helps you identify traitors. And again, it goes back to, and I don't know what it is, but there's a story in the Bible where two entities are coming after one entity, and then what they actually do, it's almost like God placed them in the ring together, and they end up taking each other out. A traitor is somebody who, like a Judas energy, goes against somebody who was formerly an ally. And again, this might be happening, but what I'm saying to you is that God has the last, I really truly believe that God has the last say. God plays the last move. So, Soul Guardian, for those born 1 a.m. to 1:20 a.m. That was the other thing my husband was saying, was a lot of these battles actually happen at nighttime. Because the strategy of it is, if you keep them up all night, blocking missiles and bombs and all this sort of stuff, if you keep the opposing force up all night, by the morning, they've used up all their ammunition and they're tired. Moral Guardian, for those born the 23rd of March, the 30th of June, the 14th of August, the 25th of October and the 5th of January. And the Physical Guardian for those born the 4th to the 8th of April, which is Easter. Okay, let's get the energy around these toxic individuals at the moment. Let's find out the energy around them. Who's the energy around them? I wanted to say, who's supporting them? Did something come out? No, nothing came out. Who's supporting the energy around these individuals? The King of Swords. The King of Swords is Uranus in Libra, but Uranus is the planet of earthquakes. So it's something that, this is the Traitor card, it's something that can be pulled apart very, very easily. It's tentative. It's Uranus in Libra is about balance. They think that they've got the measure of the other person that's in the battle with them. Look, if it's one person, they could be battling their ego. But they actually haven't, because Uranus is unsteady energy. That's earthquake energy. The King of Swords. What have we got here? The Six of Pentacles. Yeah, they think it's balanced. That's the Moon in Taurus. They think it's balanced, but it's not. It's out of balance. It's out of balance. The 3D energy, if we were looking at this person, what card would represent this person? The Queen of Cups. Now, that's a card of intuition. I'm going to get another card on that. Why have we got that? An opportunity to open their third eye. Okay, that's what it is. This is an opportunity for this person to have their third eye awakened, to step out of their ego and step into the divine being that they're meant to be. Whoa. It's an opportunity. There's an opportunity there. The Ace of Cups is an opportunity. In this deck, the Ace of Cups is represented by God giving somebody a second chance because they've learnt the spiritual lesson and they get to fly away, not to their freedom, that's the wrong word. Somebody who is spiritually enlightened is somebody who can say, actually, you know what, I did the wrong thing and I will wear the consequence. Now I've got the Shawshank Redemption, because didn't that guy in the Shawshank Redemption, he did the wrong thing, but he was given an opportunity to escape. An opportunity to escape. I don't really like that. The Six of Cups, something from the past coming back. Given an opportunity to review the things that they've done in the past to make better choices for the future. But to do it, they have to step out of their ego, because now that Neptune and Saturn are in Pisces, whatever decision that you make, whatever seed that you plant, has to be in divine alignment. Otherwise, you're going to get turned to salt. That's what they're saying. Okay. The soul of this person. Shall we just leave this blank? The soul. No, let's not leave it blank. Let's give everybody an opportunity. And that's what I say when I come across somebody who is just so in their ego. In my mind, I'm just like, I wish you healing. I wish you healing. I wish you healing. Okay, let's have a look. Ego, strength. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, so we've got the Queen. This is beautiful. If you ever thought that cards didn't talk, this is beautiful. We've got the Death card. In their soul, they have an opportunity for death and rebirth. They've got an opportunity for a new beginning. The Death card is is not about somebody passing away. It's about an opportunity for resurrection, for growth. It's Scorpio energy. It's Pluto energy. Pluto is the judgment card in the tarot. Saturn is the world card. This person is at this pinnacle point of their life. I'm talking about people in the collective. You place it however it fits in your situation. Don't make it fit. Place it however it fits. This person, let's say these people have an opportunity at this very point in time, because the world card is the last card in the tarot and it's represented by Saturn. They have an opportunity at this very point in time to use this whole experience as an opportunity to learn, to step out of their ego and into a bit of humility. And we've got the Queen of Swords, which is the opposite here. So you've got the King and Queen of Swords, which is divine alignment. The Queen of Swords is Uranus in Aquarius. Aquarius is Uranus, the planet of earthquakes. Stepping away, an earthquake separates. Stepping away from what they were doing before into something that is in more divine alignment with collective energy, which is Aquarius. So beautiful. That is so beautiful. I cannot believe these cards. So beautiful. Let's pop these here. Let's move these along a little bit. So an opportunity. It's almost like God is gifting it to them. But to get it, look, the Wheel of Fortune. To get it, they have to step out of their ego, which is the Strength card. The strength to step out of their ego. Probably the hardest choice that this person will ever make in their whole life is to step out of their ego. And that is Saturn that's the Five of Wands. An internal battle. You're seeing a battle. You're actually seeing a battle on the world stage. Okay, if we're using him as an example or them as an example, you're seeing a battle on the world stage. But you're not just seeing a battle between gunships and submarines and drones and stuff like that. What you're actually seeing is a battle for this person's ego or these people's ego. That's the bigger battle that they're in. A battle for their ego. The Wheel of Fortune, 777. The Wheel of Fortune is Jupiter energy. Jupiter turns the wheel, but somebody in their ego will actually turn the wheel backwards and turn the wheel backwards for everybody else around them if they stay in their ego. It's underneath. The Three of Cups, communication. The Page of Swords, should I not? The Lovers, the choice that they make. The Six of Swords, they're being divine. Look at that, we've got the Judgment card here. The Six of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius. We've got Mercury in Cancer here. They are being, I want to say, they're being ushered, pulled, everything around them. These are people who are literally seeing signs and symbols about a change that they need to make that is for the betterment of humanity. They are seeing those signs and symbols everywhere, and they are ignoring it by staying in their ego. God is working so hard on this person to make changes. And again, that I wish them healing, right? So hard to make changes, even to the point of bringing you into their life so that you can have a spiritual awakening. This person actually has great power in the fact that they've caused a spiritual awakening in you, opened your third eye up a little bit, but the power that they can have when they come into alignment is even greater than the out of balance power that they have now. The Six of Swords, Judgment. Look at this. The salt that's being washed off the back wall of the Sistine Chapel at the moment. The Last Judgment. On the Last Judgment painting, Judgment. That judgment, that's that soul contract that this person has with God. And look, the Two of Cups is a soul contract that they have with God, a soul contract that they have with you. And the choice that they make to be in their ego or to come into alignment with collective energy, with humanity, with removing themselves as the I. There's no I in team. And then we've got the Sun, enlightenment, which is what this person is meant to get. And that was one of the, let me That was one of the spots that temple comet went. Enlightenment. So beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, the message from the man upstairs. I think we've already got a lot, but let's have a look at the message from the man upstairs for this person. This is all about their soul contract. This is all about their soul contract. I almost want to say, well, it's true. I'm just going to pause because my dogs are fighting. This battle was meant to happen. This battle was meant to happen. You were meant to have a soul contract with this person. This person was meant to have a soul contract potentially with some other devilish entity. And it's so that they can go through the experience of righting their wrongs. Let's pop that there. Okay, let's have a look at the outcome. The Four of Pentacles. That's the sun in Capricorn. Capricorn is building energy. That can be a card about being stuck, which is this choice that this person has. Am I going to be stuck and under the banner of betrayal, blackmail, whatever is going on in the big energy at the moment? That's the song, Big Energy, 777, which is the lotto. Or she's Latto, but it's the lotto. The Four of Pentacles. Are they going to remain stuck? But it's also a card of fear. Because the next card along is the Five of Pentacles, and it's about being left out in the cold. Almost a fear that if they do the right thing, if they align themselves with their true soul contract, with their own third eye awakening. I just heard some people will never. If they align themselves with their own third eye awakening, that's actually what sets them free. The truth will set you free. Need I say more? The sun on the bottom. Leo, ruled by Leo. Out of balance Leo energies. The truth will set them free. Okay, let's get a Mother Mary on this. Ooh, apparitions. Apparitions, messages of love. They are being guided. There is so much information coming to these people. And maybe in your situation, maybe you're one of them. And if you're pulling this one play away move from taking this person down, maybe you are the gift that God gave them in humbling them. Let's say that, apparitions. Messages of love. What else? It's divine feminine energy. The Feast of the Immaculate Conception, which is December 8. That date might have significance. And the Feast of the Nativity of the Blessed Virgin Mary, September 8th. Again, that might have significance. Let's just put those there. If any of these dates, anything like that has any relevance to you, and Gabriel, divine revelation, that is where that temple comet is. Maybe this person needs to have a big aha moment. A visitation. Divine heart, sorrow. A realization of what they've actually done. And unfortunately, if it is confirmed that that is what the orange man has, that temporal lobe dementia, then that revelation potentially comes too late. Okay, let's have a look. Some Scrabble tiles, letters and numbers in here. Anything else we need to know about this situation? I'm going to shake it. It does make a little bit of noise. I'm going to shake it in 3, 2, 1. Okay. N and a 1, a D and a 2. Non-disclosure. NDS. An S and a 1. A P and a 3. An F and a 4. An L. Proliferation Treaty. What is that? Non-proliferation. An L and a 1. F and a 4. That's something that I've heard. A K and a 5. K, R. A R and a 1. An O and a 1, an A, a Y, an A and a 1, a Y and a 4, a C and a 3, a W and a 4, and a V and a 4. If you can make any words out of that, just pop them in the comments. That would be helpful to everyone. Now, I'm going to get 3 final cards. What do I want to use? Actually, I'm going to get a guidance card. Anything else we need to know? Balance. I invite a realm of serene harmony into my existence, embracing this journey free from judgment. At the end of the day, it's actually the final judgment is from the man upstairs. And denial. And that little bark came from the puppy. He's 8 months old, Colonel. He's just sat at the fence, barking into the air, almost like, I am lion, hear me roar. But he's not. Denial. I embrace my fear, yet I transform it into wisdom and clarity. That's that, the 4 of Pentacles. I embrace my fear. Okay, 3 final cards. Anything else we need to know? Strategy. The Ponte Vecchio. I'm going to sneeze. Might be a message for somebody. Oh, justice on the bottom. Anything else we need to know? I think the other thing too is, whilst literally the world is exploding, if you can sit in balanced energy, that's so funny. If you can sit in balanced energy because your third eye is awakened and you can see the power plays that are happening and you know the symbolism in the sky and in everything around you, you actually anchor and ground that balance through your own energy into the collective. Because there are many people that are so stuck in the matrix and so almost like as the ship is going this way, they're going, they're out on the side, they're going backwards and, when they actually need to be stood in the middle. This is you, stood in the middle. Too many here. The 8 of Swords, that's Jupiter in Gemini, stuck. The Moon is what's hidden. The King of Wands is the Sun in Aries. The Truth is Archangel Michael's sword of truth. This hidden army, this temple energy, third eye awakening, divine energy that's rising up in the collective, that is seeing through all of the illusion. And the 3 of Pentacles is Mars in Capricorn. And that's, Mars is about making a decision, an action forward to build anew, but through an awakened through an awakened third eye chakra. And what do you get from that? You get the 10 of Cups, which is Mars in Pisces. Beautiful, beautiful spiritual energy, but grounded and balanced energy. Balance. Really, really beautiful reading. Thank you for joining me. If this reading resonated with you, please give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you feel like somebody else needs to hear this message, you're most welcome to share. Thank you for joining me. All the best on your journey, and I'll see you in another reading.